This week we scare up a new installment of Tez Talks, a very special Mighty Morphin Madness, and we put two slasher icons head to head. Nerd Central starts right now. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Nathaniel Cochran. This week is our Halloween special. We'll showcase the horror genre this week, so let's start the show. We have a couple of trailers for films releasing next year we'd like to talk about. The New Mutants is the first trailer we will talk about. Set within the very confusing X-Men universe, this film has a different take on the superhero genre than most of the other films in the X-Men series. This film has been made into a horror film. 5 mutants that are just discovering their powers are locked in an asylum and they must escape to survive. The film releases on April 13th. I think the trailer looks pretty cool. Now let's take it to the next installment of Tez Talks, where Tez talks about something in movies, TV, or comic books. What do you have for us this week, Tez?
This is Tez Talks on Nerd Central.
Well, hello. Welcome to another edition of Tez Talks. And today, I will be speaking about Stephen King's 2017 edition of It. It's basically a movie about middle schoolers trying to fight against a demonic, evil clown that eats and captures the souls of kids. Sounds twisted, right? I know. Now this clown, he goes by the name of Pennywise, the dancing clown. He basically preys on the weak and lonesome kids and traps them into his sewer dungeon of some sort. Now this film is basically categorized as a horror, thriller, scary movie. But to me, I find comedy in it, which basically explains my personality, the type of person that always finds the bright side to every dark situation. But I watched this movie in theaters, actually. It appears to me that every jump scare caused about 90% of the audience to scream or yell or quiver in terror. But it was that 10%, including myself, that would bust out laughing. But if it was up to me, I would recommend this film to everybody to watch. Cause it's similar to the original, but yet it stands alone as its own piece. Even by the whole redesign of It Pennywise. He looks completely different from the earlier version of the movie. There were some times where I did get kind of frightened, but it did not last for too long, which would bring me back to rate this movie a 4.5 out of 5 because I found comedy in the darkest places. But other than that, this is the end of Tez Talks. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Thanks, Tez. It is pretty spooky. We're going to take a short break. Please stay tuned for more Nerd Central. Welcome back to Nerd Central. Let's talk about another trailer that we mentioned before the break, Black Panther. After the events of Captain America's Civil War, T'Challa must return to Wakanda to take up the mantle of king and bring peace to his technologically advanced country. The film releases on February 16th. T'Challa is awesome. I can't wait to see him kick some butt. We're going to take it to Haley Southard for her review of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Hi, this is Haley Southard from Nerd Central, and today I will be talking about Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Main characters include Billy, Mandy, and Grim. Composed of 2 separate cartoons, the series focuses on a mindless and spirited but friendly Billy and his dark and cunning but grumpy sister Mandy. After being summoned and losing at a game of limbo, the Grim Reaper is forced against his will to become the siblings' friend. Thus, Billy and Mandy abuse Grim's powers and strong connections to travel to paranormal worlds inhabited by various monsters for the siblings' own enjoyment. Along the way, they encounter zombies, the boogeyman, or goblin. Through the events that follow, Grim strongly protests against being a slave to 2 human children. Somewhere along the way, the Grim Reaper becomes attached to Billy and Mandy and ends up being a role model for the children. What I like about this show is that there's interesting characters and it teaches children some important life lessons through humor, action, excitement, and adventure. You never know what will happen in each episode. There's even a crossover episode between The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Codename Kids Next Door. The animation for the show isn't bad either, and the storytelling is great. The show may appear scary to younger children due to some animation details, but it's definitely a Halloween keeper.
Mandy, I don't need some pompous polyp to make me dark, foreboding, and charmingly cynical. I am what makes me Mandy. You got that?
Yeah. What are you gonna do with me?
You too can be a Grim Reaper, but word of advice, don't fall victim to a game of limbo.
It looks like he's about ready to kick the bucket. Happy birthday, Mr. Snuggles! Hey, want to see him do a trick?
Don't trust my opinion. Watch it and decide for yourself.
Dude, that's the Grim Reaper. Do I still get presents?
Well, no.
That's all from me. Again, this is Haley Southard from Nerd Central.
It's not a dress. Now give me the hamster.
Stay nerdy.
Thanks, Haley. I like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Now, we are taking it to Molly Gardner for her review of Bates Motel.
I'm Molly Gardner with Nerd Central. This week I'll be reviewing Bates Motel. Bates Motel is a prequel to Alfred Hitchcock's 1960s film Psycho. Bates Motel first starts off with a mother and son who just want to rebuild their lives.
We own a motel, Norman Bates.
But as time goes on, Norman starts acting more strange.
He's taking apart dead animals. It's just weird.
Slowly, Norman starts literally turning into his mother.
Talk to the person who knows him best.
And that's you.
Of course it is. Silly, I'm his mother.
Talk about a great mother and son relationship. This show is certainly a thriller, and you definitely need a strong stomach for some of the scenes.
I think there might be other people living with you.
My brother used to make me have sex with him.
Have you ever had sex with one of your teachers?
Yes.
After watching Norman become more psychotic,
I think you killed Bradley Martin and Blair Watson because you were jealous of both of them. And you are trying to blame me. You are trying to pin it all on me and have me locked up. Well, I am not gonna let you do that.
he finally breaks. As the seasons go on, Norman gets more blackouts,
Know what happens to you when you black out?
No.
which causes him to become more violent.
Norman, say something. Speak to me.
You're dead to me.
Overall, if you can get past the mother issues,
Mother.
I'm always with you.
I didn't mean to leave you here. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do.
all the blood and some awkward moments.
You need to know something very important. You didn't kill Blair Watson. I did.
You did.
I have to keep this a secret. Do you promise?
Bates Motel is a must-watch.
We're home. We're finally together.
Yes, honey, forever and ever.
For Nerd Central, I'm Molly Gardner.
Thanks, Molly. Incest is weird, am I right? While some movies were unveiling their trailers for their films, others are revealing the titles. Lucasfilm and director Ron Howard announced they have finished principal photography on the Han Solo movie. To celebrate, Howard announced the title of the Han Solo film is Solo, A Star Wars Story. The film is scheduled for release May 25th of 2018. That's a pretty interesting title. It reminds me of some of the book titles of the extended universe novels. Now we're going to take it to another installment of Mighty Morphin Madness. Take it away, Zach.
Welcome to the Mighty Morphin Madness Halloween Special Spectacular with me, your host, Zach Brown, where we're going to talk about everybody's favorite spooky teenagers of attitude, the Power Rangers.
What do we do?
Teleport to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans.
No, not that, not teenagers.
That's correct, Alpha.
I was afraid of that.
This special will talk about some of the episodes the Power Rangers did for Halloween. The first Halloween episode the Power Rangers did was during the first season of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in 1993. The episode entitled Life's a Masquerade shows the Rangers going to the costume party at Ernie's Juice Bar. Rita creates a Frankenstein monster to crash the party.
Now that is a costume.
This episode to me was kind of interesting. In the history of Power Rangers, most of the monsters that were created for the show were very creative. But this monster was very uncreative, and for the Power Rangers, it wasn't their best effort. My favorite Halloween episode they did was in the 4th Power Rangers season named Power Ranger Zeo. In this episode, it came from Angel Grove. The Green Ranger Adam is studying for a test and finds himself in a world where his best friends and Rangers are classic horror villains, including Dracula, Frankenstein's bride, and the Mummy. He eventually wakes up and finds it to be only a dream.
I won't let you.
Adam, wake up.
You were dreaming yet?
This episode was first released on VHS before it actually aired on TV, as a way to get more sales during the holiday. This is my favorite because this particular episode took many cool elements from horror and fantasy films and put it into a fun little episode. Also, this was the first episode I ever saw from Power Rangers Zeo, and later in life, this season became one of my personal favorites. It took the Power Rangers franchise a full 15 years until they did another Halloween special with the episode Party Monsters during the Power Rangers Samurai season. They since have done a Halloween episode in each new season since Power Ranger Samurai, which aired in 2011. This has been Zach Brown with the Mighty Morphin Madness Halloween Special Spectacular. Now back to Nerd Central.
Thanks, Zach. Some of those Halloween episodes are pretty funny. We're going to move straight into Tyler Bruff's review of the TV series Goosebumps. Tyler?
What's up, guys? This is Tyler again, and with Halloween right around the corner, this week I'll be reviewing a TV series that is relevant to the holiday. For those of you who are like me and born in the 90s, you probably already have guessed by the music and series intro what I'll be covering. But for those of you who aren't aware yet, I will be reviewing the TV series Goosebumps.
You will beware, you're in for a scare.
Growing up, I remember far too many sleepless nights caused from watching episodes from the series, and I'm sure I'm not alone.
Don't you know anything about gnomes? It's what we do.
The TV series is based on the original books written by R.L. Stine. He interacts with the series from time to time as we see him building up suspense for the following episodes.
Oh, hello. I'm R.L. Stine. I write the Goosebumps books.
Watching them now at the age of 21, I'm amazed that I used to be scared of these, but I forget how a kid's imagination can turn even the cheesiest footage into something realistic to their mind. With the quality of footage we have today, any series from the 90s is going to look cheesy to some extent, but the Goosebumps series exceeds expectations. The series follows kids, preteens, and teenagers on adventures where they find themselves in unusual situations, typically involving supernatural elements. The series was short-lived as they started airing on Fox Kids in the United States in September of 1995 and ended production in September of 1998, with reruns on Fox Family lasting until September of the following year. The series has been recently added to Netflix, so if you have an account, I recommend you go check it out while you can. From time to time, though, Cartoon Network and other kids' TV channels air episodes during the month of October to add to the festivities. My favorite episode from when I was a kid is called Welcome to Dead House. The episode involves a family of 4 moving to a town called Dark Falls, where they move into a house they think is haunted. But the house is the least of the problems, as the whole neighborhood is full of the living dead who want to turn the family of 4 into one of them. The episode first aired in 2002.
Come back! Come back! Dark
series overall is just low quality and has some pretty terrible acting, but I think the series is perfect for kids as the stories introduce them into a new genre without scaring them off. With the series being produced in the 90s, I can see why kids nowadays wouldn't really be interested, but back in its time, the series was good overall and managed to entertain kids. Now, I don't think it would be fair for my 21-year-old self to give the series a grade, but when I was younger, I would have given it a 7 out of 10, which isn't too bad. This has been Tyler Bruff, now back to Nerd Central.
Thanks, Tyler. Some of those episodes are pretty messed up. That's going to do it for this week's Nerd Central. Nerd Showdown is next. You can watch Nerd Central, Nerd Showdown, and all of our other amazing shows on the KNWT YouTube page, and follow Nerd Central on Twitter at nerd_central_TV, and follow KNWT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please stay tuned for Nerd Showdown.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Showdown, the part of Nerd Central where we battle it out on a particular topic we have no business debating. This week, with Halloween around the corner, we will be debating what the best horror/slasher movie icon is. Keep in mind, KNWT airs family-friendly content, so try not to curse. But there may be some footage we show that may not be suitable for everyone. This is your warning. I am your host, Andy Johnson, and with me, two spooky fighters. To my left, currently 1-0 in Showdown, we have Nerd Central crew member Eli Stanley. Eli, who is your icon?
Michael Myers.
All right. And to my right, seeking his first win, we have Nermageddon's own Court Jensen. Court, who is your icon?
Mine would be Freddy Krueger.
All right. The rules are simple. Both competitors will be able to make their points to the audience. After that, yours truly gets to decide who reigns supreme. Now that's out of the way, let's show down. Court, you may go first.
All right, well, Freddy Krueger is a horrible, horrible man. He started out a horrible man before he even became horribly burnt in a fire. He was the Springfield slasher. He was tormented by his classmates when he was young, so he's seeking revenge basically on the parents when they grew up and their kids. Developed this thing was like cutting edge. A horror movie slasher icon that could come into your dreams is truly a terrifying thing because you have to dream essentially, or I'm assuming, I'm not a doctor obviously, I'm on the radio, you would die eventually. He's basically been in all kinds of pop culture stuff. He's been in a DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince song. I've had an action figure of him. He's been in several video games. I think he's in Dead by Daylight, a new video game. He's been in Mortal Kombat. He's in Ready Player One, actually a forthcoming movie from Spielberg. He's really everywhere. I don't know, like the remake wasn't so good. I mean, but don't count him out. I know Robert Englund that played Freddy is not going to probably play him ever again. But he's just a horrifying figure. All you have to do is witness the first movie where like a figure comes out of the wall in a rubbery kind of substance. Actually, the X-Men movie that's going to come out called New Mutants utilizes that like rubbery figure coming out of the wall. They get it straight from him. He's actually made a bloodbath come up from a waterbed. Those aren't things anymore, I guess. It was the 80s. Just a horrible, horrible figure. You hear his theme, it gives me chills. You hear little school children, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. He's just a figure that cannot be stopped. He can consume your soul, and basically you're inside of his chest, and he gets powers from killing children. That's all I gotta say is like he's just a horribly burnt figure that wears a sweater no matter what temperature it is. That's a bad dude. And that's all I gotta say about that. Forrest Gump.
Eli?
Okay, so while you have some good points there, you know, someone with supernatural abilities, it's horrifying to the extent which you can exploit those abilities. But the reason why I think Michael Myers is the best is how normal it is. Like, someone who is just a kid at 6 years old kills their older sister, spends most of their life in an asylum because he's pure evil, whatever, stays there since he was a kid. Once he gets out, he's like, I'm gonna kill my entire family. You don't get much scarier than that. With supernatural things, you can have the comfort of going, scary, but also you can't encounter that out here in the real world. However, in the real world, you can encounter someone who just goes, I'm gonna kill anyone who gets in my way. Turn a corner and there's some murderous man who's just like, well, I was on my way to get eggs, but you're here, so now you're dead. And it's purely, he's got one goal, and if you just so happen to be in the way, you could literally just be wrong place, wrong time, you are dead. And to me, that is just absolutely terrifying, to run into someone who just has zero regard for a human life. A cold, heartless killer who spent most of his life in an asylum, most of his life just plotting revenge on his entire family just because he started with his older sister when he was 6. It's just horrifying to unleash that kind of monster out on the world and know that you could be next at any point. And you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to be part of the end game. You don't have to be part of the motive. You could just be there, and you could die in a horrifying way. He will not stop until his goal is realized.
Court, rebuttal?
Well, that seems like seemingly normal stuff, although he keeps dying and coming back movie after movie, which would make me think he does have some kind of supernatural quality, dispelling the belief that these guys are going to be like normal people. In horror movies, that's out the window unless it's like a biopic of like Ted Bundy or like John Wayne Gacy or something. So we got to throw that out. We have to focus on like the reality of these are essentially supernatural people. And what's scarier than the Dream Master guy that just keeps coming back? And basically that's my rebuttal. It's just that he's a supernatural dream master that you can't escape. You have to dream, and nightmares are scary things. They're stuff of nightmares.
Eli, final thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, as you said, he does have some regeneration abilities. That's kind of the whole breaching out, making him something bigger than a normal person, because to where people don't have it haunting their dreams at night thinking this could actually happen. There are, documentaries for that. That can actually be its own thing. And you actually can stay away from dreaming. You just don't have to go into REM sleep. But you can still actually get a decent night's sleep off of that, as long as someone kind of keeps you, kind of like light sleepers. They don't really dream all that much.
That's going to do it for Nerd Showdown. The winner is Court.
Hey Mom, thanks for letting me watch horror movies. Love you.
Now Court, you won, but yes, Eli, it pains me to say this because around any corner I could see Mike Myers and he would kill me, but Court did come up with the point that yes, part of him being undead, kind of like he could die but still not, makes him kind of supernatural, kind of puts him on the even playing field. So I'm sorry, Eli, but it gotta go to Court. Northwest Sessions is next. Just as a reminder to go to KNWT's Twitter page to show your support for this week's Showdown. See you next week.